Hey, what's up guys? It's Fran here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how a remote executive assistant is helping me save at least 10 hours per week, the 12 tasks that I've delegated to my executive assistant, and if you stick towards the end, I'm going to share with you the exact job post that I posted online so you can use it to find your own executive assistant. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Earlier this year, I hired a remote executive assistant for the first time, and to be honest, I didn't really know what I needed this person to do exactly. I just knew that I needed one. And the reason that I knew that is because we've grown our businesses to more than $1 million in revenue. We've helped clients through our business agency Rocket Fuel scale to 7 figures and beyond using proven systems. And as our client base grew, as our team members grew, we have 10 team members right now, I just knew that I was starting to become the bottleneck in a lot of projects, and it was causing people to slow down. I was missing messages. There was a lack of creativity on my end to work on the business, and I tracked my time a lot, and I noticed that I was just really becoming inefficient in how I did things. And so one night I reflected on my work, my schedule, my workflows, and I realized that I was doing a lot of repetitive, mundane things that I knew that I could just delegate to someone else. Now, it's ironic because in our business, we actually help clients automate and delegate, to team members so that the business owner can focus on becoming, this true CEO of their business, right? Not the chief everything officer, but the chief executive officer of their business. And it was ironic because it was starting to affect me, right? I was becoming that chief everything officer. Now, I knew that I needed an executive assistant because we already had automations in place. We already have team members in place, but I was still doing things on my own. And so I just decided, hey, let's try hiring an executive assistant. Now, in this short video, I'm going to share with you the 12 tasks that I delegated to my EA. Now, this is not going to be an exhaustive list. This is just a list that I've figured out, a list that I created over the last 4 months, and I'm sharing this with you, hopefully to spark some ideas and give you, some ideas, right, to delegate out to an executive assistant. Now, if you stick towards the end of this video, again, I'm going to share with you the exact job post that I use. I posted this on Upwork to find an executive assistant, and I'm going to share that with you towards the end. Now, let's jump straight into the 12 tasks here. Now, the first thing that I actually delegated out to my executive assistant is to create standard operating procedures for ourselves and our clients. Now, this is really a fundamental piece when you want to delegate out work effectively to other team members. That's creating standard operating procedures. It's a document that outlines step by step what you want a process to do and achieve. And so I delegated out this task to someone else, to my EA, because I noticed that every week I was creating 1 or 2 SOPs so that I could either use that as training for our clients or delegate out work to other people. So instead of me actually writing out the SOPs, what I did was I shot a Loom video or a screen recorded video of a process that I was doing, right? And I would send that over to my executive assistant. And I said, hey, I want you to document this to create an SOP using a process that we use. And I want you to turn this into a written SOP through a Google Doc, right? And so that saved me at least an hour and a half per process, because instead of me having to take the video, write down the SOP, take the screenshots and whatever it is that I'm doing, I have delegated out to another person. Now, that's the first thing. And that's a valuable skill because I truly believe that anytime you do a certain task at least 3 times, right? And you've done it 3 times in the last, couple of months, that should be delegated out to someone else because then there's a process to it, there's a standard to it. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I had my executive assistant take meeting notes of decisions and action items of a particular meeting, whether this was a meeting with clients, a meeting with a potential prospect, or a meeting with one of our partners in the company. I would either have my EA join the meeting, just listen in the background, or if she wasn't available at that time, because we do work asynchronously, she's in the Philippines, I'm here in California, sometimes our schedules don't match, I just send the recording to her, and then she would take the meeting notes on her end on her own time. Now, I'm gonna switch to my screen here. I'm going to show you an example of some of the meeting notes that I had her take so that you can hopefully get some inspiration from this. So I'm going to look at my screen over here. Now, this is a meeting note that my EA took for, with one of our clients. I was meeting with one of our 7-figure clients, and I needed her to jot down the decisions that we made and the action items that we decided on. And so if you look at my screen right now, you could see that, here were some of the areas of concerns, the action items or the action taken recommendations that we were doing, and the responsible parties that were, that needed to work on that action item. And so that's basically what I had her do. Now, the reason that I want my EA to do this is because, meetings can go on for 20, 30, 50, 60 minutes, and a lot of things get lost, right? The decisions that you make, the action items that you make. And if you're doing a couple of meetings each week, it's easy to lose track of that. And so I always make it a point to document everything so that we can keep track of that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is to transcribe, okay? To transcribe anything that I want to transcribe. So again, I'm going to go to my screen here. I'm going to show you an example of what I had my executive assistant transcribe. So I think this was 2 weeks ago, but I was working on the training plan for our systems engineers in our companies, and I needed to copy the titles of a particular training in Asana. It's actually Asana Academy, and I wanted our engineers to go through specific training materials within Asana Academy. And again, there were hundreds of it there, and I only needed like 12 to 15. Now, at that point, I was like, and so if you're looking at my screen right now, these were the titles that I needed our team members to go through. And I had two options. I could either spend 5 minutes copying the title and putting it in this document in Notion, or I could just tell my executive assistant, hey, I need you to copy these things. I just shot a really quick Loom video, copy these things, put it in this document, format it up, and let me know when you're done. Now, thinking about it now, it's like, why would you spend 5 minutes? Why would you have your EA spend 5 minutes doing this when you can do it yourself? And really, it's just the value of time, right? I could have used, and I used that 5 minutes to think of something else, right? To think about how we can structure the training plan, to think about how I was gonna deliver the training to our team members. And instead of wasting 5 minutes just copying text from another, page to a document, I just delegated that out. Now, you might be thinking, Fran, it's just 5 minutes. But if you think about it, if you multiply that, right, towards many instances in a year, that time adds up. Think about all the times you've spent just copying words from one page to another, right? All the time that you've spent doing that compounds over time. That could be hours, days, months total in your lifetime that you could use to reinvest into something else, like creating this video, right? So that's one of the things, right? Just transcribing stuff from one page to another, whatever it is, okay? Now, the fourth thing is managing my calendar booking link. Every quarter, I have a meeting with all of our partners just to kind of check in with them. It's called a quarterly check-in. And in the past, I would reach out to people, send them my booking link, and ask them to just book a time on my calendar, right? When I hired my EA, what I asked her to do is just, hey, here's my booking link. I want you to send this every quarter to all of our partners, have them book a time, follow up with them if they haven't booked a time yet, and just let me know if everything is done. So I've completely removed myself from that process, and I just wake up every quarter knowing that, all right, partner A booked a time with us, partner B booked a time with us, partner C hasn't booked yet, so I know that my EA is on top of it, and she's following up to make sure that this process is followed through to completion. And what happened in the past is, since I was doing this process, I was manually sending the booking link, I was following up with people and stuff like that. Sometimes I would go through a quarter and not do 2 or 3 quarterly check-ins because I just forgot about it. It just fell through the cracks. But now, there's 100% completion of this process because I'm not responsible for that process already. Fifth thing is LinkedIn outreach. One of the things that I want to achieve for 2022 is grow my network on LinkedIn. I know there are mixed opinions about whether LinkedIn works or not, and I just want to test it out, right? So I'm having my executive assistant research people that are within our industry, agency owners, marketing agency owners, and directors, and I'm having her connect with them, reach out with them. I created a little script that she can follow, and I'm just having her reach out to 10 to 15 people every day. And that's it. Instead of me doing that, I'm having my EA do that for me. And so every single week, my network grows. And, it's just a lot of fun because I can just sit back, relax, and see my LinkedIn connections grow. And again, you can use this for any platform. You can use it for TikTok. I think you can use it for Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, whatever platform you're on, you can have an executive assistant, build your network, reach out to people, connect with people, and then you can take care of the rest after that. Okay. Now, the sixth thing, and this is actually, I'm not very proud of this, but I have my EA remind me of client birthdays, and then I have her send them either a note, right, or a gift. And, I'm not very good, to be honest, with remembering birthdays. And so instead of, me having to worry about, who's having a birthday in the month of December, I just have my EA take note of that. And then if it's someone that we need to send a note to or a gift to, she orders stuff through Amazon, or, we use another service provider to send like a written note, right, to someone. And so reminding me of client birthdays and, sending out gifts has been a game changer for me, because, I want to be on top of important relationships, whether that's in the business or with family, and that's really helping out a lot. Okay. Now, the seventh is turning my written notes into presentations. Now, I'm not sure with you, but I am the type of person that writes a lot. I have a lot of notebooks, behind me, and I just think better that way. I am able to create things, to strategize better, and it's just more freeing for me to write stuff down on paper. Now, the challenge has always been turning all of my writing into something actionable, right? Whether it's through a Google document, whether I want to create a presentation, I want to communicate that with other people. I just, that has always been blocking me, right, to do that. Now, at one point I considered, buying, Remarkable or an iPad to write stuff down so that I can easily transfer it, but it just doesn't feel, and I guess that's just a personal thing, but it just doesn't feel the same for me, because I just prefer to have something that's paper-ish, right? I know that's not very good for the environment, and I should be changing that soon. But at least for now, I'm having my executive assistant. I simply take my phone, I take a picture of whatever it is that I need, transcribing or turn into a presentation or whatnot, and I send it to her through Slack or Asana, and then she just takes care of creating that for me. Now, it took a couple of iterations because, I wanted a specific kind of presentation vibe or feel that I wanted her to follow. And so after probably 3 or 4 times, we got it right. And so now I just take a picture, she creates a presentation, and whenever I need to use it, I just open it up and I'm good to go. So that's one thing that I delegated. Now, hopefully you're enjoying this video. I have 4 more tasks, I think 4 or 5 tasks that I'm sharing with you. But hopefully if you're enjoying this, please like this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our channel. Now, I think this is the 8th thing, but the 8th thing is, this is more personal, but I'm having her check out hotels in a specific area. So one time I needed to book a hotel within LAX. And, instead of me having to spend maybe 20 or 30 minutes deciding and looking at all the different options, I just told her, hey, I need you to find me choices of hotels that are within this mile radius. Let me know what the prices are, what the availabilities are. Is the parking free? Is it paid? Is there Wi-Fi? Is it paid? And stuff like that. And then, just give me 3 options to choose from. And that's what she did. Instead of me spending time doing that, she put the list together. She sent it to me through, a Google spreadsheet. I had a glance at it for 5 minutes and then decided to choose the hotel that I was going to stay in. And that was that, right? Instead of 30 minutes to an hour, it took me 5 minutes. I decided, I put on my credit card, I paid for it, and then I moved on with my life. So things like that, right? Now, let's see. So the 9th thing here is to create flowcharts from my written notes. Now, earlier I said, I had her create presentations, right? But sometimes I want to create a flowchart so I can communicate this better to either a client or my team member. So I'll give you an example right now. So I'm going to open up one of the flowcharts that I had my EA do. This is a flowchart of the ideal agency system. This is for a training that we were doing for some of our students that are aspiring to become digital operations managers. And so we wanted to teach them, what is the flow of work in a typical marketing agency from marketing to sales and fulfillment. Now, again, I'm not very good at creating stuff digitally, like creating flowcharts like this. I would much rather create something on paper and then have someone else kind of create it for me. And so that's exactly what I did. Now, nothing fancy here, but I just drew this on my paper. Unfortunately, I don't have my notebook here, but I drew this on my paper and I told my EA, hey, I want you to turn this into a flowchart. This is what I want it to look like. This is the flow of everything. And then, go ahead and do it. And this was the outcome of it. And so what I did is during that training that I did with our students, I just opened this up and then I discussed the entire agency system using this, right? And so instead of me having to, awkwardly get my notebook and show it in front of, the webcam, which is not a very efficient way to do things, I simply just opened this up and I was good to go, right? So that was it, creating flowcharts from my written notes. I have 3 more here. Research about topics that I am interested in, right? And give me a summary of it. Now, one of the things that we do for clients is we create KPI dashboards and trackers that allow us to track important metrics in the business. And I was curious to know if there were any new tools out there that would do this, because for the longest time, we've been using Google Sheets and Google Data Studio, and that's working for the most part. But, I do want to improve our products and improve the deliverables that we give to our clients. And so I just wanted to know if there are any new tools out there. And so what I had my EA do was just go search the internet, figure out if there are any new KPI trackers or dashboards that are coming out, whether through AppSumo or maybe, they're doing a beta launch or whatnot, and just search for that, right? Come back to me, give me some recommendations, tell me what they do, what they don't do, compare it with what we do right now, and then give me your best kind of executive summary of it. And again, that's saving me a lot of time because, it takes time to research and gather information. And so that's been a huge help for me. So 2 more things here that I've delegated out to my executive assistant. The 11th thing is study use cases of software that we are highly considering. Now, this is different from the previous one where you're just, researching about new software. Let's say I have 5 options that my EA presented to me. And of those 5 options, I find 2 of them to be really interesting. What I then have her do is actually create an account, use it, and study the use cases of different software for me so that she can make, a recommendation of which is better or not, right? More just like a pros and cons kind of thing and diving deeper into it, right? Now, the previous one is more just like looking at the software from a high level overview, looking at, the pricing and the target market and stuff like that. This 11th one is really create an account, using it, maybe using it for 7 days, see what the pros and cons are, and then reporting back to me. And again, that's just one of the things that I realized that I was doing a lot of before and wasn't really the best use of my time. And so I just had my EA just study the use cases of different software. And one last thing, right? One last thing that I have my executive assistant do is summarize articles for their main pain points and statistics. Now, one of my responsibilities as, the managing director of our business is to stay updated with our industry. And staying updated with the industry requires you to just read and consume massive amounts of information, right? You're staying updated with the industry. You're looking at articles, you're looking at webinars, you're just understanding what the state of the industry is. Now, that takes a lot of time, right? An article could be 5 minutes long, or it could be a 60-minute read, or you could watch a webinar and stuff like that. What I've been doing now is, I score the internet of different articles that I'm interested in, and then I glance through it, and then I have my EA just summarize the main points of this of the article or the webinar, right? And basically, to kind of show you an example, one of the things that I wanted to understand was, is the digital marketing industry growing or is it declining, right? And then I wanted to understand what the state of the market is. And so what I had my EA do is I asked her to look for different articles, different webinars. I gave her a couple as well. And then I asked her to just give me the summary and let me know if this article is saying that the market is increasing, growing, or is it decreasing, right? And that's it. That's it. So what I basically did is, once she was done with her research, I just opened up this document. I read the summary and I read the increase, decrease kind of note that she added here. And if an article interests me, I just read deeper into it. But I don't have to read everything else. I just look at the articles that were really interesting for me. For example, this one, right? This article, the summary was marketing budgets fell from 11% to 6.4%, and the spend with agencies decreased by 29%, something like that. And so that was very interesting for me. So I actually spent, a good 30, 45 minutes reading into this article. And, I just use all the other information here to kind of create my own analysis and create my own conclusions out of that, right? And so that is the last thing, and that is to summarize articles and videos for their main points, their statistics, and whatever it is that you want to learn, right, from that particular topic. And so that is it, guys. Those are the 12 things that I delegated out to my executive assistant. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm sure I'm going to come up with more things that I'm going to delegate out to my EA, but for now, that is what I'm doing, and hopefully you can use this to delegate out work to your executive assistant. Now, again, as I promised, if you stuck towards the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the exact job post that I put out there. So I posted this on Upwork, and I was being really completely honest about this. I'm sure this is not the best practice, but it worked well for me. But this is what I said, right? I said, hey there, my name is Fran. I run a company that helps businesses and remote workers enjoy their work again, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm looking for an executive assistant to help me with different day-to-day tasks, right? Communicating with people, assist in overseeing projects, organize documents, take meeting notes, managing my schedule, paying bills, and even do personal administrative work. The person understands that when first starting out, a lot of tasks will be simple, but it's gonna, I'm gonna have this person learn the business as they go. Now, one thing that I want to point out in this job post is I was actually really honest because I didn't know exactly what I needed this person to do. I needed someone that has done this in the past and would help me figure out what tasks I could actually delegate to her. And so I actually said in the job post, usually job posts will add the responsibilities and bullet points by now, but I'll be honest, I need you to save me time so I can focus on what I do best. This means we'll have to figure out the job as we go. This means you might also need to tell me what you can and cannot do. I was being upfront about this. And that has worked tremendously to filter out people that were maybe just starting out. They actually weren't executive assistants. They were just starting out. And, it helped me find really the A players and rock stars in the internet talent pool. So that's pretty much it. You can actually just pause this video so you can, copy this and use it for yourself. And hopefully you can use this to find your own executive assistant, save some time, and, reinvest that time in whatever it is that you want to do. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer that for you. Thanks.